Hey everybody, and welcome to TGIK. I am your host today, Kris Nova. I am taking over for Joe, and today we're going to be talking about Helm. And actually, before I get started, I want to make sure this thing is even working because this is my first time doing this. Hi everyone. Hi Fabio. How's it going? If you guys can hear me and see me, give me a big heart or something. Hi Chris from Paris, from Antoine. Hey Antoine, how's it going? Let's see, I think I can chat too. Joe doesn't ever chat, but I'm totally gonna chat today. Yay, I got happy hearts too. Let's see. Hey everyone. Bam. Cool, hi from Florida. Hey Angel, Fabio, Noah, Hans. Hans in Sweden. I don't want to forget anyone. Hello from Bonn. Hey Philip. Hey Sean. Hey from Calgary. I was thinking about going up to Canada soon. Hi from Hamburg. I don't even know where some of these places are. And now I really just want to make a map of all of the TGIK people in the world and just have a map up behind us of little pin drops of all the people all over the world. Hey everyone, Jalal BX Pro. Hi from Madrid. Hello from Brazil. It's melting here. I wish it was melting here. It was sunny for a couple days and now it's raining. Lithuania. Okay, that's cool. Hi from Cork. Hi Chris from down the hall from Joe. Hi from Poland, Naperville. Yeah, we definitely got to get a map going or something. +1 for TGIK map. Okay, cool. So how's everybody doing today? It's Friday and we're going to be talking about Helm. But before we get started, we're going to do a couple of things. The first one is we are going to deploy a Kubernetes cluster with Kubicorn on Amazon Web Services. So let me switch over. Oh, also, hold on. I just looked in the mirror. Let me adjust this. I don't know if you guys can hear the weird sounds or not. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Okay, so let's go over here. Can you guys see my terminal? Text size is good. Thumbs up. Cool. So I'm going to create a Kubernetes cluster. We're going to call it TGI Kris, and we're going to create it in Amazon. And we are going to apply our new cluster. So while that's going on in the background, we're going to talk about news in the Kubernetes open source space. Could you increase the font size? Yeah, let me see. So I can do that, and then I can do this handy dandy shortcut that Joe showed me. Bam and bam. Does that look good? So news. So the first thing I want to talk about is this new project called Kooper. Let's see if I can do this super elegantly. Bam and bam, poof, Kooper. So I purposely have not looked at any of these beforehand, so you guys are going to get to see a lot of this in the wild here. So Kooper is a simple Go library to create Kubernetes operators and controllers. Oh, hold on. Oh, gee, thanks, Joe. So Joe's joining, and he is bringing he's bringing me ghost pepper sauce, a Diet Coke, and looks like some giant slices of pizza. Thanks, Joe. Okay, cool. So now I get some pizza and Diet Coke on TGIK. Okay, so if somebody could let me know if the font size is good in my terminal next time I'm back in there again, that would be helpful. So let's look at this. So this is made by Spot a Home. I always like to look at Kubernetes and open source organizations. Yeah, no beer. Also, somebody's calling me. Who's calling me right now? And see what else they're up to before I even look at the repo. Okay, so these guys, I don't even know. What do they do? Let's see what they do. Experience your new home. Oh, dope. It's like a smart home something. Okay, now I'm super intrigued. Okay, Kooper is a simple Go library to create Kubernetes operators and controllers. Ooh, I was just talking about how I wanted one of these the other day. So Kooper is a set of utilities and packages as a library framework. Okay, so I want to point this out because I have strong opinions about this. This is the best GitHub repo ever because it tells me in the first sentence what it is. It's not some nebulous thing. It actually says concretely, it's a library, or it's a command line tool, or it's a REST service. So thanks, Kooper. You guys are doing it right. And it looks like they're using Microsoft's Brigade. They have a makefile. They have a good old hack directory. Oh my god, I love when I see an examples directory in a repo. It's like my favorite thing ever. Okay, so this is how we're really going to learn about what this repo can do. They have command. Oh, we found our main. Awesome. And this just looks like a controller that you've seen in the Kubernetes code. Okay, and I think Joe already did a TGIK on these, but this looks like it's just making it way easier. I would really like to do a TGIK on creating a controller with Kooper now, because this just looks really exciting. Okay, let's see what is next. I don't know. Oh yeah, so I wanted to show this other one. So this was what Aaron was demoing on the community call this week. This is a new thing called prow.kates.io. Mateus says, well, I'm playing with Kooper right now, and Joe says increase font size on GitHub, so that's way too big. Okay. So this is the new Prow thing, which this is pretty cool because it's got this command help. So this is like the live documentation of all of the fancy Kubernetes commands that we see in the repos all the time. When I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to come and like read all of these and see all the cool stuff we can do, because it's like IRC all over again. And this is what Jesse was saying on the community call, because we have like /woof and /bark. Oh man, those commands seem rough. Oh wow. And /lgtm, we have retest, test all, which is pretty handy for anybody who's ever worked in a Kubernetes repo before. You know that it can get pretty noisy pretty quickly. So this is awesome. If you guys want to come check it out, it's called Prow, and it looks like it also has information on the configuration for each of the repositories in Kubernetes as well. So that's pretty rad. How do I get out of that? Our next one, somebody on Twitter just mentioned this. It looks like our friends over at Google are now supporting GPUs, which is exciting because everybody knows ML is so hot right now. So I think we can get GPUs in GKE, which, like, damn, GKE doing it first again. Good job, guys. Coming up next, I wanted to talk about Helm Summit. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and I actually haven't even really looked into what it is. But I found this today on the internet, and I think this is going to give us a good idea of what we can see at the Helm Summit this year. So it's like a whole conference-style track. It looks like it's single-tracked. Let's see what they have going on. So we have breakfast, and then we're talking about managing different environments using a Helm chart. That sounds pretty cool. There's a new Helm operator. So I think we're going to get more into operators and controllers later, because a couple of different people have mentioned operators and controllers in Helm. Oh, I wonder if we could use Kooper for that. That would be cool. Lockie is doing a presentation on securing Helm, and I can have services with Aaron. So I used to work super closely with these guys, so like getting to see their names is exciting. I miss them a lot. Let's see, what else do we have? That looks exciting. Can you keep a secret? A partial practical discussion about protecting Helm secrets. Tiller, CRD, and a controller. That sounds pretty awesome. I would go see that one. So this is cool. This is like a whole like summit dedicated to Helm. And I guess we'll talk about a little bit what Helm is and what it isn't a little bit later. And we'll keep going through news right now. So next up on the news board, we have Heptio Arc. We released version 7.0. Let's see what our new features are. We can now run the Arc server in any namespace, which is cool. I just found out recently that Arc runs both as a command line tool and as a server, so that's pretty rad. Add ability to delete backups and their associated data, support both pre and post backup hooks. Oh, is that like a way where we can like hook in and run arbitrary logic? Chris Short, what's a Heptio? I'm going to answer that actually, but I'm going to put it at the end of my notes here because that's a really good question. Yeah, so what does this source code look like? And this is what I do. I like, instead of actually reading what something is, I'm like, let's just go look at the code. Oh, it's just like a Kubernetes hook. Okay, cool. Awesome. Cool, so you can add and extend Arc. That's super handy. Also in Kubernetes, we released version 1.9.3. I'm going to pull that up and take a look as well. And I think there was 1.8.8 was also cut this week. Change log. There's going to be a ton of release notes like always, so I'll try to go quick here. We have some work on CRDs. Calico was bumped. Looks like there was a bug fix. Configurable etcd compaction frequency. Exposed metric server. Ooh, that's going to be handy. Kube API server fixing loading of admission control config file. Sweet. Oh, fixed encryption key and encryption provider rotation. That's cool. I love how fast the Kubernetes code base like really truly evolves. It's so fascinating to watch this thing. It's always like alive. Like you can go like have a cup of coffee and come back and Kubernetes has changed. Awesome. So anyway, that's all the news I have. I'm going to answer Chris Short's question on what is a Heptio. Joe and Craig could probably answer this better than I can. I just know that there is, Hept came from 7, which is the 7 sides of the Kubernetes wheel, which is intentionally designed not to fit well in any space, which makes me super happy inside, because anytime you control somebody using Euclidean geometry, that's pretty rad. Cool. So let's move into Helm. Sarcasm as a service. Yeah, I'm sassy. So sweet, Kubicorn has our cluster up and running. And it looks like we have some nodes up and running. And let's see, no resources found. Okay, so completely vanilla Kubernetes cluster. Also, I'm going to be doing some weird command line-y shortcutty stuff. So I guess I'll show you guys my aliases now. I have H for Helm. And oh, hi, Ollie from Sweden. And I have K for Kubectl. And then I have a ton of other like COPS stuff from back when I used to contribute to COPS. And I think that's probably all you guys need to know. Oh, this is my favorite alias ever, because I can just type shrug, and it'll just copy the shruggy to my clipboard, which is pretty handy. Okay, so anyway, we have Kubernetes up and running. We have 2 nodes. Kubectl is configured. We can talk to our service, or talk to our API server. And let's see what goes and happens when we run Helm. Helm, command not found. So let's go and let's look at the Helm repo and let's talk about what Helm is and where it came from and why it exists and everything. So let's get a new browser up over here, and I should be able to go bam and P. Bam. And of course I have mountains for my background on my Google Chrome empty tab. github.com/Kubernetes/Helm. The Kubernetes package manager. The first time I learned about Helm, I think was like the week before I was interviewing at Deas, and I was like, I better go figure out what this thing is before I go and talk to these people who I'm pretty sure like wrote the source code from the ground up. Oh, and let me go back to YouTube really quick to make sure I can see what people are saying. Gabrielle says TGIK on Kate storage anytime soon. I'm down. Let's do it. I can do a lot of these now. Stealing TGIK from Joe. So the Kubernetes package manager, and I was like researching it, trying to figure out what it is. And I think the first thing that really ever jumped off at me was when I saw my first Helm install command. Is there one here? I think it used to be on the front page way back when. I know there's a docs. Yeah, let's look in here in docs. There's install. There's charts. I think it might be charts.md. Let's see, is there Helm install? Right here. Helm install, and then some arguments. History of Heptio name. I think that might be Joe who just shared the history of Heptio name. I really want to find one where it's like Helm install stable MySQL or something. Anyway, I can just show you guys in my terminal once we get up and running. But I remember seeing that online where it said Helm install stable / MySQL. And I was like, oh, I get it now. It's just like Yum. It's just like apt-get. It's just like all these other package managers I worked with before. And then, of course, I was like, but what in the hell is like going on? Or heck, I don't know. Can I swear on here? What in the heck is going on under the covers? So anyway, Helm is written in Go. Let's look and see. It's got 272 contributors. Matt Butcher Adam, Michelle, a lot of, oh gosh, Matt, I miss you. A lot of people, Brandon Phillips, have contributed to this. Cool, so let's figure out how to install this thing. And let's take it for a test drive. So install. We want to install for OS X. Let's download it. And let's change directory home, make dir, I'm not going to show you guys what's in my home directory, sorry. And let's move downloads. Aaron Schlesinger says, YouTube bleep chewed, nah, just kidding. Or Jesse says, YouTube bleep chewed, nah, just kidding. And Aaron said, you should have gone with what in the Helm. Oh my God, I miss you guys so much. I feel like I should just do like a seal clap really quick, just for like old time's sake. Anyway, so I'm gonna move downloads. What was this thing called? It was called Helm dash that thing. We want to move it right here. And then, look, I don't even need to look up my tar commands, y'all. That's how you know I'm a true thought leader in the Linux space. Helm. And let's see. Okay, so this is one thing that has always bothered me about Helm, is that it kind of breaks the untar magic that I expect to be there, which was I untarred a tarball called Helm v2, and then it got created in a directory called Darwin AMD64, which if I did that in my home directory with all of my other noise in there, that would have been really hard to know. But that's probably just a reflection of me not knowing tar as well as I thought I did, but whatever. Anyway, if you go into Darwin AMD64, we have a README, and I think this is pretty similar to what you see. Yeah, I think this is almost verbatim what you see in the GitHub repo. What else do we have in here? We have a license, which I'm assuming that's Apache 2. Let's see. Yep, good old Apache 2. And what else do we have? We have our Helm executable. Let's make sure that works. Awesome. So I'm going to move this into user local bin Helm. And let's see. Poof, it works. So I can go to my home directory, run Helm, and I'm going to go back into TGIK, and this will be where we're working out of today. You can tar, this is why I love Jesse. You can tar -- strip components 1, and it'll fix that problem. Thanks, Jesse. And then it removed the first dir. Wow, I am so happy right now. Okay, so we have Helm installed. Everybody's like, brew install Kubernetes Helm. Ralph Squillis for Mac, there's good old brew install Kubernetes Helm as well. So I guess my question here, and maybe you guys can answer, is let's actually look and see. I want to know what if brew installs something different than what the repo installs. So Helm, how do you do version? Okay, you can just do Helm version. So Helm version, ooh, gross. Ooh, it's hanging. What's going on here? Cannot find tiller. Oh, I was looking for a tiller pod. Okay, that makes sense. And I said gross. Ooh, what'd you do to my terminal? Not because it was doing anything bad, but because I want to pipe it to JQ. Oh, dang. So that it was pretty colors. Let's get tiller online, and then we can pipe it to JQ. Irregardlessly, because that's a word, we're running 2.8.0. So let's move user local bin Helm to, we'll put it back in TGIK for now. Helm, we'll call it from repo. And now let's brew install Helm and see what we get. Helm init client only from Barrett. What is Barrett? What does Helm init client only do? Brew edit Kubernetes Helm to see the homebrew file. No formula with the name Helm. I never use homebrew. Do you have to brew update cask or something? Somebody tell me what to type. I don't want to have to make a fool of myself. Brew, what is it? Brew update? What does this thing do? Brew update. No reason to install from homebrew if you only want to see the version. Okay, that's a good point. Kubernetes Helm. Oh my God. So, okay, this is a good point. All of your guys' chats come in 30 to 45 seconds after I type. So, bear with me. as sometimes it might be a little bit sluggish. Okay, so brew install Kubernetes underbar? Nope. Dash Helm. Hey, it's downloading some stuff. And then Kurt let's see if I can split my screen. Kurt wants us to do a brew, and then I can readjust this. Edit Kubernetes Helm. Let's see what that does. That's my emacs startup page. Ruby mode requires installation of Ruby. Yes. 2.8.1. Interesting. And can we run it here now? So Helm version 2.8.1. So there is a difference between the two. I had a feeling, because I also do that in all of my repos as well. Which is cool that the homebrew version is more recent than the README version. I feel like it's usually the other way around. Good job, Helm team. Okay, so we'll run with 2.8.1 today. So let's go and let's check out our docs again. How do I do this? Bam and bam. Emacs, yes. Cami Hacker, you are my soulmate if you also use Emacs. Does anything else in KubeSphere do what Helm does? Lamati, yeah. So we have a tool called KSonnet that we'll probably do a TGIK on soon that also does like an abstraction on top of Kubernetes primitives and allows you to deploy to Kubernetes. It approaches it a little bit different. If you want to check that out, and if you want to ping me afterwards, we can talk more about it, and I can connect you with peeps here at the Heptio team. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, I want to find like the getting started Helm in a handbasket. Yeah, let's start here. Okay, Helm is a tool that streamlines installing and managing Kubernetes applications. Think of it like Heptio homebrew for Kubernetes. It has two parts. Joe says Helm and KSonnet are complementary. Yeah, they should run in tandem or in concert with each other. So Helm has two parts, a Helm client and a Helm server. The Helm client is called Helm, and the server is called Tiller. Tiller, yeah, this is like my Diet Coke ad. Like, be like Kris Nova, drink Diet Coke. Tiller runs inside your Kubernetes cluster and manages releases, installations of your charts, whereas Helm runs on your laptop /CICD/ wherever in the heck you want to run it. A chart is a Helm package that contains at least two things: a description of the package, which is the chart with a capital C, .yaml, and one or more templates, which contain Kubernetes manifest files, which these are like good old Kubernetes manifests that we see all over the wild, like deployment.yaml, stateful set.yaml, all that kind of stuff. Joe says, I don't know why does Joe's look weird? Maybe he's just messaging me. Anyway, these are the manifests you see everywhere. Oh, Joe already did a TGIK on KSonnet. This is hard to try to have a linear line of thought on one page and still read everybody else on the other page. So let's get a chart up and running. This is where I think the rubber meets the road. And this always helped me out a lot when I was learning about Helm. So there is this Kubernetes /charts repository. Let's see if we can't. Oh, it's trying to actually go there. This is where a whole team of people, I know Lockie is one of the maintainers here. I don't know who else, or at least he used to be. I know a handful of people watch out for this repo and vet what is and isn't in the stable directory. And here in stable, we have all of these prefabricated Helm charts for all of these things that we as software engineers might want to use and compose our apps with or against or whatever. Let's find a good one. I really like to do WordPress. Yeah, Lamati, we're going to look at what a chart is once we install one of these things. And people are still talking about KSonnet. How does Helm versus Draft? Oh my gosh, I love these questions. I feel like I'm at Microsoft again. So Draft helps you deploy your app to Kubernetes really quickly and really awesomely using build packs. Helm is the tooling that actually packages up your chart and then takes that and deploys it. Or I guess it takes a prepackaged chart and goes and deploys it. But yeah, Sean, if you want to, there's some people in the chat. I think I saw Aaron in here. He can probably help you find better resources on Helm versus Draft. So yeah, let's go back to WordPress over here. So we have, this is the command I was talking about earlier. This is the one where I was like, I get it. I know what Helm is. And this is actually the chart. I'm going to actually, you guys. Actually, this is the chart that we will be installing if we run this command on the command line. And we're going to do it in just a second. But let's take a minute and let's talk about what's going on in this chart and how Helm is going to be sort of interpreting and then later deploying this chart. So the first thing that we saw in the README was this also critical capital chart.yaml file. And you can tell, like, this one file alone, it's got 18 contributors, but it's 21 lines long. So a lot of attention goes into this file. I think it's a critical component of defining your Helm chart. And I think if I remember correctly, it's a lot of meta information that makes the chart. Yeah, so it's got like a description, and it's got like a super awesome icon and stuff, and it's even got keywords. So this is like really taking the package management stuff and really defining all of the cool components of what this app is, and that's important to engineers using this. So if we go back here, we can look at the templates directory, which was the second thing that all of these charts needed to be considered a chart. So in here, we have these Kubernetes resources. Again, like we have deployment.yaml, we have an ingress.yaml, we have a PVC and secrets and a service. So I think probably the easiest ones for us to start are going to be deployment. So this is like the same deployment object that you would see in the Kubernetes documentation. But if you look, we also see this templating language here. And I'm going to just take a quick moment to like pull up this GopherCon talk I did, GopherCon Kris Nova, just so that I can demonstrate that what I talk about in this talk is a completely different use case of text template than Helm uses. So I very much think that text template, this is my opinion for what it's worth, I think text template is the perfect thing to use here, and I think it's a great idea because we're interpreting at runtime, not at compile time. This whole presentation is me complaining that you shouldn't be using it at compile time because then you get into interpreted language problems. This is a really good idea in my mind. So anyway, there's this whole package in Go called text template. Let's see if we can pull it up here. Text template Golang. So import text template. And it is this sort of like standardized, it's in the standard library, so it's a standardized way of templating out text files and then parsing them and reasoning about them. The one thing that's really cool about text template is it's got this concept of functions. So you can actually call functions from your templating code, and you can make those functions do anything that the Go programming language can do. So you can actually put function calls in your plain text files and then make them do like really cool things and get interpreted dynamically, which is what Helm is doing here with this deployment file. So here we're calling the template function and we're passing in the argument full name, and then I think that period is important, although I can't remember what for. Chris Short pulls up no, I didn't pull it up to make me seem cool. I pulled it up because like I spent so much time like kind of saying stay away from text template, and I just want folks to know that there's a big difference between using text template to interpret text files, which is like exactly what Helm is doing, versus like using text template to basically write your source code for you and then attempting to compile that. the Go compiler gives us all this wonderful like input into what's going on. And whenever you stick text template in there, you kind of like sacrifice all of the goodies that the Go compiler gives us. Sean Dunn, Helm injection attacks. Oh, we'll get there. I want to pull that repo up as well. Anyway, as we go through here, we can look and we can see that we have a Kubernetes resource where like we're defining our replica count. And we have our template, and we have some arbitrary labels here. But this template full name keeps appearing over and over again. So what I want folks to see is up here in the values.yaml, we have all of these key value pairs defined in YAML. And I bet if we grep for full name is not in here. I bet it's just name. I bet full name is like magic or something. Maybe? I don't know why I'm not finding full name in here. Let's find a different directive and see if we can't match it. Oh, it's because of the values. Got it. Okay, so template means it's coming from something else. And then if you see dot values, that's right. Now this is all coming back to me. I haven't like actually written a Helm chart in so long. If you see dot values and then you see a directive after that, that's telling us it's coming out of that values file we just looked at. So we had, what was it, values image. So now we should be able to go into values.yaml. This is all connecting now. And I bet we find image in here. Yeah, so it's the first directive defined here in line 4. And that's the name of the image. And what Helm does is it sort of like replaces sed in the sense that like now every time you put in values.image, it's going to interpolate that at runtime, not at compile time, into this Kubernetes manifest. So we can come in and we can define like logic, like we have this if statement here. So if there's some condition called MariaDB enabled, we're going to add a value to this Kubernetes manifest. So in a weird way, Helm is like using text template almost as a Turing-complete programming language to generate a dynamic Kubernetes manifest based on arbitrary input, either from values.yaml, or we can override that, which we'll look at a little bit later once we start deploying WordPress. So let's go ahead and let's take this for a spin. Helm install stable WordPress. Could not find Tiller. I did that on purpose, by the way, you guys. So, Ralph Squillis. One thing to remember, Helm installs with complete global cluster access by default. Fine for secured local clusters, but def secure your config before using in yo random cluster. Okay, thanks for the input, Ralph. So, looks like Helm is using the Cobra command line package, which is where we're getting all of this output from. So, big shout out to my homeboy Steve for writing and creating Cobra. And shout out to all the Kooper maintainers, other than Steve, who keep that package alive and awesome to this day, which there's a good handful of you. So we want to initialize Tiller. What? Oh, Helm init. Okay, what does this thing do? Helm init. Initialize Helm on both client and server. So Helm init, let's just do -- help. There are all of our lovely flags, and let's see what this thing does. Helm init -- help. This command installs Tiller, the Helm side server component, onto your Kubernetes cluster, and sets up a local configuration in Helm home, default Helm. So real quick, let's see if I have anything there. I do not. So we're going to look and see what's in that directory after we do a Helm init. So we can run a Helm init now. Awesome. So it said it created users Nova Helm, Helm repository cache, Helm repository local, plugin starters, an archive, repositories.yaml. This is the exciting part. So it says adding stable repo with URL https:// or / Kubernetes charts storage Google APIs.com, and adding local repo on localhost on port 8879/charts. And it says Helm home, which I did not define, has been configured at users Nova Helm. And I think if I remember correctly, we could, Helm home here would actually display what Helm home could be. So it sounds like we could actually have like different Helm homes that we could pass around between the different people at our org, or like if I wanted to have one for like my personal Kubernetes cluster and then like my work Kubernetes cluster, or like whatever, I totally could. So let's go ahead and Helm install stable WordPress now, as I think Tiller has been initialized. Helm, no available release name found. Okay, wonder what that means. Did I typo? That should work. What's going on here? How do I update? Helm team, help me. Oh, Helm, help me. How do I update my releases? Also, let's go ahead and take a look what's going on in Kubernetes while I'm waiting for one of them to respond. Okay, Barrett Harbor says Helm repo list. Looks like we have stable is here. Helm repo update. Oh my god, all the Helm commands. Okay, so let's see. We had Helm repo list. Let's just do this really quick. What does Helm repo do? Helm repo add list, remove, update index chart repositories. And then we had a lot of people are saying Helm repo update. So what is Helm repo update -- help? What does this thing do? Update gets the latest information about charts and respective chart repositories. Information is cached locally where it could be used by commands like Helm search. Okay, let's try that. Helm repo update. Successfully got an update from the stable charts repository. Oh, cool. And we got like a handy dandy little like Kubernetes logo. Although I think this one only has 6 sides, so not a 7-sided Kubernetes logo. Tiller pod might not be ready is what Colm says. Matt says, so Matthew Fisher, he's Bacon Gobbler, everybody. There was this one time when we were at a company outing and Matt was eating a BLT. I'm going to totally embarrass you, Matt. And I was like, hey, Bacon Gobbler, are you gobbling bacon? That's my whole story. Let's see, that error can potentially occur when your cluster is RBAC enabled, but Tiller wasn't given access. So let's see, or what do I want to do? I want to do kget po -- all namespaces. Okay, so we have Tiller running in the kube system namespace, which kube system is like the root namespace in Kubernetes. What are people saying? What is the local repo process listing on 8087.9? When did they start die? I just want to see if I can even. Okay, so here we go. Config maps is forbidden for user system, service account, kube system default. Cannot list config maps in the namespace kube system. What's going on here? I have never seen this before. Let's see. Let's look at our Tiller logs. Okay. Logs. Oh. -in kube system. What's going on here? Started Tiller, gRPC is listening. Failed to get config maps. Taylor says kube system is my summer home. Failed to get config maps, eager otter config maps. Generated name eager otter is taken, searching again. Cannot list config maps. I have no idea what this pod is trying to do right now. Need to create a Tiller user. Give Tiller cluster admin access. Give Tiller cluster admin access? That sounds scary. I am willing to take commands to run at my Kubernetes cluster if anybody thinks they can help me out here. Yep, needs permissions. I think there's an think RBAC issue too. So we think it's an RBAC issue? How do we create a Tiller user? I've never done this before. I've also never had this problem before. Let's figure this out. bam, Kubernetes create user RBAC. Too short to paste. We don't want to create a role binding. We want to create a user-facing roles. Put it in the admin service account for Tiller. Oh dang, I just got a whole lot of like stuff here. Okay, so Joe says Kubernetes Helm. Let's see what Joe says here. Page not found. Oh, but I can probably find it. Let's see. Sorry, I'm reading right now. Oh my god, it's like all like chat vomit coming at me at once. I'm gonna try this Helm init service account tiller and see what this thing does. Helm not found. There we go. Ah, that's why. Error installing deployment tiller deploy. Invalid value. A DNS subdomain must consist of lower alphanumeric characters. Blank blank. Yay, chat vomit. Thanks, Ralph. All right, I'm going to try to create the service account per Patrick's suggestion here. So we're going to create service account tiller namespace cube system. So we're going to create, what are we doing now? We're opening up tiller to the cube system namespace. This is interesting. Kubectl not found. What happened here? Unknown flag dash dash namespace. Well, we can do -n. I'm probably running an old version of Kubectl is what's going on here. Oh, people are still typing. For some reason, you had the Unicode byte order character in your paste buffer. Okay. Hold on, I want to get this RBAC stuff set up first, and then we're going to try it again. I'm going to go with Patrick here. Patrick, you win. Okay, Kubectl create service account tiller, and dash namespace, that's cube system. Okay, so that is good to go, and then we want to do Kubectl create -f. Where's this config.yaml? Patrick, where'd you get this config.yaml from? I want to take a look at it. Is this Joe's link here? No. Kubernetes Helm, we want... So here's what Joe said. Let's go look here. He said in docs there is a... RBAC.md, yeah. And then I think I can go bam and bam so you guys can see. Yeah. Oh, okay, so Joe says I can do Kubectl create cluster role binding instead of the YAML file, and it looks like Patrick finally sent me his thing in too. Thanks, guys. Good looking out. So let's go with Joe's suggestion here. Ooh, that's weird. I don't want to do that. Okay, create cluster role binding. Tiller dash dash cluster role cluster admin dash dash service account equals cube system. Dang, RBAC. Must be namespace name. Ah, cube system. That's why. Tiller. Bam. So now let's look at our pods. Actually, I want to kget po dash namespace cube system. I want to kill this pod and recreate it. So k delete po dash namespace cube system. And hopefully, I don't know, is that going to get recreated? Let's see. Yay, it's terminating and rerunning. Good old Kubernetes scheduler helping me out again. So now, Helm ls, dang it. Service account cube system default. Cannot list config maps in the namespace cube system. I bet I need to, I probably need to remap this new tiller pod to Helm? Let's see. Is there a way to like uninit? Uninstall Helm reset. Uninstall tiller from a cluster. Oh, great. Now we're still getting config maps. Tiller doesn't have the service account. So yeah, so I want to reinstall tiller. What do I want to do here? Okay, edit. Oh, I bet I can edit the deployment directly. Okay, edit. Well, okay, get deploy. And that's going to be in cube system. So I bet I can edit it here. Okay, edit deploy tiller dash deploy cube system. You guys are getting to watch me hack on Kubernetes. This is so exciting. Antoine, would it be quicker to trash the cluster and do it again with the service account? What do you mean? I can totally trash the cluster. So, Antoine, are you saying that we need to redeploy Helm on a new cluster after we've created the service account? That seems a little backwards. I'm going to read this RBAC thing that Joe said and see if I can figure this out. Okay, so in Kubernetes, granting a role to an application-specific service account is best practice. Tiller and role-based access control. Here we go. This is what I want to go through. Kubectl create service account tiller and namespace cube system in RBAC config.yaml. Oh, this seems complicated. Helm, why won't you just work for me? Kubectl create. I wish you guys could, like, when you chatted, like, I never know if you're, like, talking to me right now or me, like, 5 minutes ago. I'm going to try to read this thing and figure out. Deploy tiller in a namespace restricted to deploying resources only in that namespace. We might have to. Joe's gonna come in and help me. Yeah, you
I'm
are.
eating pizza.
Nice.
All right, let's get you going.
Let's do
This
this.
is painful for everybody to watch. I'm sorry. All right, so go back where you had kubectl edit deployment. That's in your buffer.
Yeah.
Not get. So you had the edit.
Yeah. Let's
Where to
do
go?
this. Okay. Edit deploy.
Mint tiller.
Here, let's do this actually. Bam.
You know.
Nice.
I'm eating. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So find where it says service account default.
Also, it's super hot in here.
No, it gets really warm in here.
Yeah. I don't see it anywhere in here.
It should be up the. Let's see. It should be in the template for the deployment. Should be. Okay, wait. Is it? Oh, okay. Just add it there. Okay, so. Yeah, it should be up here to. It shouldn't be env. Containers, yeah. So right under image pull policy, do service account : tiller. Be at the end of the line.
service account tiller. Bam.
Yeah. I think that's right. Let's see if that works.
Okay. Should we restart the tiller pod?
We'll do a redeployment with it, so you should be fine.
Okay.
Oh, it's not value. Shoot, where is?
Let's go down.
What? Darn it! This is the problem with the YAMLs, that you're not sure where the heck to put it. Oh, it doesn't go in the container. Put it above the containers, because it applies to the entire pod.
So here.
Yeah.
Service account tiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, my RBAC skills are not
There we go. Okay.
cool. So namespace cube system. Okay, so tiller is there, and it's been running for 8 seconds.
So I think you're set. Now do.
Cool. Let's just, this is what I've been doing.
Sweet!
Yay, Joe fixed it.
I'll leave you alone.
Joe to the rescue. Thanks.
Now you're gonna do a shot of hot sauce.
Yeah, now I should totally do a shot of hot sauce. Awesome. Okay, so Helm install stable WordPress. Yay! Let's see what we got here. Okay, so the output. So we got a name. Looks like Helm generated a random name for us. We have a last deployed. It's in our default namespace. And we have a couple of things here that it's created. Yay, Joe! Also, it looks like I need to watch the TGIK on RBAC. So yeah, we've created the deployment, and we've got a pod, we've got some secrets, and we got some config maps. So let's map this to what we have defined in our Helm chart. Yeah, and then like now everybody's chats are coming through on my end. So yeah, let's go back to our chart. Kubernetes /charts /stable /WordPress. I think that'll work. Nope, I got it because it's like Kubernetes /chart /blob or whatever. Stable WordPress. Rad. Okay, so Helm install stable WordPress. We go into our templates here. And looks like we have our deployment, which we should be able to now map the interpolated version of this back to what Helm just created for us here in our default namespace. So let's get PO in our default namespace. And we should see, we have a couple of pods here, but we also want to check out the deployment. Kget deploy. I don't know why I'm doing -in default, because it'll just do that for me, but whatever. So, are we looking for the MariaDB or the WordPress one? Sweet. So, let's edit this thing. Kedit deploy. They're both in there. Awesome. So now we should be able to map this deployment here and actually look and see what Helm did for us. Awesome. So it generated a name for us. It gave us labels to map to our other primitives. We have replicas equal to 1. What I really want to look at, though, is the username and password stuff, because I didn't define any of that. So I'm curious how Helm created WordPress without asking any of my username or password. Okay, so here we go. So this is what happened, was we have allow empty passwords. We have MariaDB root password. It's listening on 3306. And here's our WordPress stuff. Okay, so we have user@example.com and first name, last name. Yeah, everybody send Joe 1 Bitcoin, because I was just like, what in the hell is going on? Okay, cool. So let's see where our chart is getting our username and password from. So here we have database user. Let me close this out of there. We have database password. Okay, so here it looks like we have default is equal to empty string. Otherwise, it's going to pull in values WordPress username. And we have values WordPress email. So I bet if we go and we look here, we can find WordPress username. Yep, there's where it's defined. So if we wanted to, I think we could nuke this deployment or this release, I think to use proper Helm parlance, and redeploy this release with some of our flags overwritten at runtime. Oh my God, Matt Fisher said one would say what in Helm was going on with sunglasses. Okay, so let's do Helm LS, which is going to show us all of our releases. So we now have Solomon Ocelot, and we can do, I think, Helm delete. Actually, I have this Helm RM command that I totally use all the time that is just like this alias for like nuking all of my Helm releases, which is pretty handy. Okay, so Solomon Ocelot deleted, and if we actually, I don't want to show you guys what's in my bash profile. I can share the alias for that on Twitter afterwards, but it's just it just loops over all of the Helm releases and does a delete on all of them. Tips Fedora. Okay, so now I can do a Helm install stable. Actually, before we do that, let's get help up on our screen. So we can pass in, I think we can pass in a name. Yep. And I think we can do -- set here. Where, yeah, here we go. And it's a string array. So this is like a good old Go parlance. So we can come in and do key value to 1 and key value 2. Okay, so I can come in and I can do Helm install stable WordPress -- name. We'll call this Kris WordPress. And I can do -- set. And I can do type Helm RM. -- set, and let's see what we want to override here. So we want to do WordPress username. So we want to do WordPress username is equal to Kris, and we want to do, how do I switch back to Chrome? WordPress password and WordPress email. And that's really all I probably need to set. I think we could come in and set more if we wanted to. Password, so plain text password. There's probably, I'm assuming there's got to be a better way to set a password here if anybody from the Helm team wants to jump in. But we'll just set our password to 1234 for now, and we'll do WordPress email is equal to nova@heptio.com. Oh, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to stick with TGIK tradition. Rad. Wrong type for value. Expected string got float 64. Oh, because okay, so yeah, this is another thing about the whole interpreted text template-y thing at runtime is like types are always a little bit weird and it's going to interpret them as it may. So I think we can cast that to a string and it should fit. Let's see, executing, wrong type for value, expected string got float 64. Let's try this. Actually make it a string. Yay, that worked. Okay, so we have a couple more deployments now. We have MariaDB and WordPress again, and I bet if we kgit deploy, namespace default, and we edit our WordPress deployment again, I bet we can come in here, and if we search for Kris, yep, so our name worked, and let's search for Nova. Did that work? Yep, nova@heptio.com, right there. Okay, cool. So now let's try to figure out how to actually get to the WordPress URL, because I think it created a service and did ingress and stuff for us too. To get the WordPress URL. Note, it may take a few minutes for the load balancer IP to be available. Watch the status with... So this is, I think this information here that we're seeing in the notes is defined in the chart as well. So let's go look at the chart and make sure that's the case. Chart.yaml. We want notes. Where are notes? Is it in the templates maybe? Yeah, notes.txt. Marco says, do you have configs for the emacs somewhere? That looks fabulous, AF. I don't want to steal to see how it looks like. Yeah, I have a .emacs. It's in my personal GitHub. I think I have a home directory repo, like Jesse's .files. Because, I store my whole home directory in Git, because that's the thing that people do. Get the WordPress URL. So again, we're seeing this text template-y thing where it's got some conditional logic, and then we've got this little range loop, so it's going to loop over it. But this is what's being processed when we run our Helm install command that's generating this here. So this is cool if you want to package up your apps and you want to give somebody an easy Helm install command for running your app, and then you can kind of give them some information about how to access it. So this is sort of putting an abstraction layer on top of the Kubernetes resources. So this starts to look and feel more like an app and less like a service, a deployment, a secret, a database, all this other stuff that's happening under the scenes. So let's watch our namespace for a public IP to come up. So that's still pending. We're waiting in Amazon, and I bet we can keep watching this. Oh, is the -w already there? Yeah, it's already there. So we'll keep watching that. So another thing I wanted to look at, now that we've given Tiller access to the kube system namespace on our cluster, is this exploit that somebody pointed out the other day for Helm. I haven't actually ran this thing before, but I figured we should just take a look and see what's going on here. And I'm really excited to see what happens at the Helm Summit this year as well in regard to this. So we have this Helm exploit, and what does it say? This is a really simple Docker image that demonstrates whether an attacker would be able to escalate their privileges via Tiller's gRPC API. So I think what's happening is the Helm client is talking to Tiller via gRPC, and I think by default it does not run with TLS. So I think this is just an exploit. I'm not going to run this container because I have no idea what's going on in this thing right here. But I think this is an exploit to show that you can totally manipulate the gRPC Tiller API without being an authenticated user, which seems slightly concerning. So what is this Docker file doing? So it's downloading the Helm tarball, and it's saying Helm host equals Tiller deploy. Okay, interesting. So it's just basically downloading Helm and then rerunning it against it. Okay, so Helm team, since you're here on the call, do you guys have any plans for this, or what does the future of Helm 3 look like for TLS encryption by default on the Tiller gRPC server? And in the meantime, let's see if we have a public IP address. Still pending. Yay, Fisher says yes. I knew that's what you were going to say. That's why I asked you. Pat McGrath, does the Helm CLI just send data to the Tiller pod? The Tiller pod then does the equivalent of kubectl create apply? I think that's the way this thing works, and I think Tiller also has its own internal data store. And then keep me honest here, Matt, if that's not the case. But I think that we track the releases on the Tiller side of the fence as well, and all of the meta information with a release, right? I bet we could find out if we went into kube system. We only have the one pod, and then we just have our Kubernetes etcd. So I don't see a database pod running, so if it's doing any caching, it's probably happening internally in that pod. Let's see if we have WordPress. Okay, that's still pending, so Amazon's load balancers are taking their sweet time today. Let's go and let's look at proxy auth won't be enough if the user has access to the cluster. Let's look at creating our own Helm chart while we're waiting for our WordPress chart to come up. Because let's say I'm a user and I've got an application and I want to run it in Kubernetes and I want to create a chart. I think Helm by default offers a way for you to come in and actually create a Helm chart straight from the command line. Like it'll stub it out for you. Is it not Helm init? Is it Helm create? Yeah, create a new chart with a given name. So let's go to TGIK, and let's make dir, we'll call it chart, and let's go into chart, and let's do helm create -- help and see what we can do here. Helm create foo will create a directory structure that looks like something like this. So I can do helm create, let's call it Kris's app, and let's see what we have here. So we have Kris's app. Okay, so this is going to stub out our default stuff for us too. So if I wanted to make a Helm chart, I would just go to like, you know, whatever. Let's make one for Kubicorn really quick. Go source, github.com, Kris Nova, Kubicorn. What branch am I on? Git checkout master. Oh, this is what I was working on, and I don't want to save that. And let's git checkout -b. We'll call this Helm chart. And let's do helm create Kubicorn. Bam. So now we should have a Kubicorn directory, and in here we have charts.yaml. So let's look and see what this thing is. Helm chart for Kubernetes. So I could come in and I could define like a description for Kubicorn. I could add a name. I could add a version. Let's see what else we have here. What is charts? I know, boy, this boiler stuff is so critical. Like, if I had to actually create YAML files, I probably would be slightly deterred here. So in charts, let's see, nothing in there. Let's go to templates. So here we have, so Matt Fisher says, at David, most users aren't concerned about downtime of a few milliseconds in case of a panic crash, so there's only one available by default. Kubernetes handles the restart policy of the pod. So let's look and see what's in our notes. Okay, so we have like some more text template-y stuff here. We have like some examples of like things you can export. And it may take a few minutes for the load balancer IP to be available. Okay, so this is kind of making the assumption that we're going to be running just like a generic web app and that we're going to have some load balancer IP. And while we're here in Emacs navigating this file, I'm going to take it upon myself to show the other Helm, this Helm, which was the original Helm, which is the Emacs Helm that I've been using for years and years and years, which is how I navigate my file system within Emacs after it's running. So we can also look at, we looked at nodes.txt, let's look at helpers.tpl. I have no idea what TPL is. Oh, Joe says it looks like Kate's created an ELB in the zone different from your node. Some misconfiguration with the Kubicorn. Oh, I think this is probably our cloud provider issue. The cloud provider and Kubicorns don't really work. Okay, I can go in and manually configure that ELB then. This is why I should have used the Heptio AWS Quick Start for my cluster. But let's keep looking at these files, and then we'll move back over to our ELB. And thanks for the tip, Joe. Okay, so we have these TPL files. What else do we have? We have ingress.yaml and service.yaml, and I think these are just, yeah, default Kubernetes resources. Let's see, service.yaml, yeah. Okay, cool. So it kind of gives us a starting place, and I bet if we look in values.yaml, there's just going to be some example key value pairs here as well. Yeah, so we have, looks like we have Nginx configured, we have some service-y stuff configured, ingress as well. Okay, so this is cool. It gives you kind of a starting point for running like a basic web app in Kubernetes. Cool. So now let's go do some AWS Black Magic and see if we can't. Actually, I don't want to manually do this. I'm going to take this upon myself to open up an issue in Kubicorn for cloud providers, which I think there might already be one, but we can just open one anyway. New issue. Kubicorn creates ELB in the wrong zone. On TGIK, we tried to create an ELB, and it was created in the wrong zone. Can we look at the cloud provider implementation here? Okay, so I'll take a look at that. I really want to do a TGIK on Kubicorn too, so this would actually might be a good one for like me to fix this, and then we can come in and do a TGIK there as well. So let's go back, and we have our one deployment running here. And I want to do a little bit of exploring our Helm repositories, because I think with Helm you can also set up your own repositories as well. So by default, we have the charts repository, which is what we saw when we initialized Helm. And in here we have stable and we have incubator. I think the incubator, these are all of the packages that are like, for whatever reason, considered not stable. And I think the stable ones are the ones that are a little bit more hardened and field tested and battle tested that are production ready. Justin says, I would love to see a TGIK on Kubicorn. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think I should fix this cloud provider bug and then totally do a TGIK on cluster API and cloud provider-y things in Kubicorn. Dope. So yeah, repositories. So let's figure out how to list repositories. We looked at this earlier. So we can do Helm repo list. And right now we have stable, which is, this is the Kubernetes charts.googleapis.com, and we have local. So I think there's got to be a way, let's look at the docs, where we could actually create our own repository that we could use internally as an organization. So where are docs? Chart repository. Let's see what we have here, the chart repository guide. This section explains how to create and work with Helm chart repositories at a high level. Chart repo is a location where package charts can be stored and shared. Prerequisites. We've gone through the quick chart and we kind of know what a chart, or we've gone through the quick start and we kind of know what a chart is, so I think we're probably good there. So to create a chart repository, it's an HTTP server that houses an index.yaml file and optionally some packaged charts. When you're ready to share your charts, the preferred way to do so is by uploading your charts to a repository. Okay, so just like with apt-get or yum, like you can have like the official community standard repo, but you can also have like your repo as well. It looks like people are talking. Pat says at Fisher, but if the CLI is just sending data to the tiller pod using gprc, as Kris mentioned earlier, how does RBAC get applied? I can understand RBAC be applied for the tiller pod. Curious what Matt says there. So the chart repository structure. So it's an HTTP server, and if we go to our HTTPS, it looks like server, we expect there to be a charts directory, and in the charts directory, we expect there to be an index.yaml, and then we have some tarballs. What are these tarballs now? In the case of an index file containing information about one chart, the Alpine chart, and provide the download URL for the, okay, so these are tarballs of the chart. So this would be a tarball of, like, let's look at the WordPress one again, of this directory here. Okay. The index file is a YAML file called index.yaml. It contains some metadata about the package, including the contents of a chart.yaml file. A valid chart repository must have an index file. And this is an example of one here. Okay, so it's another YAML file, and we have this directive called entries, and in here we have Alpine and we have Nginx. So this is a lot of YAML for us to be defining, but I think it's going to encapsulate all the things that we're going to need to represent what a chart is and what it means to us. So there might be a little bit of an exercise of going through and writing out one of these index.yaml files so that you could go and create your own Helm repository. Interesting. Hosting chart repositories. Okay, so it looks like we can also host these with Google Cloud Storage and GitHub Pages. So that's pretty handy. So I think I could go in and I could create a Helm chart for Kubicorn, and we could deploy it from one of these Google Cloud Storage repositories or from GitHub Pages, or I'm even thinking we could do an Nginx server running in Kubernetes with an ingress and actually host our Helm repository within the same Kubernetes cluster that Helm is running. I don't know if that kind of, actually, I don't know. Seems like an interesting pattern. Cool. What is managing chart repositories? Now that you have a chart repository, I'm basically just reading docs online at this point, but I kind of want to see what we can do here because I might want to set up a repo for Kubicorn if that's going to help people get a Kubicorn server up and running. But we can store charts in a chart repository, and we can add new charts to an existing repo. Okay, this is all stuff I would want to do. And you can share it with others. Okay, cool. So this is what I wanted. So after you build your repo, you can add it here, and you can give it a name. And then you can see it in repo list. Okay, cool. Are there any other components of Helm you guys would like to see today? Let's just see what else we can find here, if anything jumps out at us. We have Helm lint. I wonder what Helm lint does. Let's see. Can I do Helm lint stable WordPress? No chart found for linting, missing chart.yaml. I bet that was looking locally. Oh, Helm search, that's a good one. I've used that in the past. So Helm search, we can actually, it'll do a keyword search for all of our configured repos and look those up. So if we do Helm search Word, yeah, it's gonna find stable WordPress. And if we do a Helm search, let's just do Mongo. Okay, so we have stable MongoDB and stable MongoDB replica set. So it looks like we have like Helm search, we can add repos, we can delete repos. We've discovered that Tiller needs to be authenticated if you have RBAC configured. Thanks, Joe, for helping us out. We've gone through and we've seen that you can delete a Helm release and reinstall it. You can do Helm --set to override the values.yaml at runtime. And we've seen that you can create your own chart and host your own repository if you choose to package up your own applications using Helm. So I think that's going to be all I have for today for TGIK, unless anybody has anything else they'd like to see. Looks like Matt and Pat are still going at it in chat. And if anybody has anything else, feel free to jump out at me. Pat says Helm CLI. I don't think there's a CLI. There is no CLI subcommand. I don't know what you're saying, Pat. Okay, well, I think that's all we have for today. So thanks everybody for coming in. Next week on TGIK, I think either Joe and I are going to do it. Thanks, Chris and Joe from Taylor. I'm not sure what we want to do. Maybe I can do my Kubicorn next week. Maybe we can get Joe back in here. It's always exciting on TGIK. So thanks for stopping in, everyone.